So you've been an ambassador for them for 2 years now, and you've used their GPS technology your entire career. How important is this sort of technology to your game?
Yeah, Stat Sports has definitely helped grow my game. We use it here with the national team. We use it in the NWSL too. So I think it's nice just to have it as an extra tool when I'm training by myself too. Just because I think it is important just to like start getting that data so you can kind of make sure your trainings are as hard or as intense as what you would get either with the national team or in the NWSL. So it's just nice to actually see like when you're by yourself, like what you're actually doing. And I think each unit can pick up a bunch of different things. So it's definitely like helped me grow my game and just the detail that I now pay attention to with certain things. It's crazy. So.
Because you guys will wear them during games too, and it'll like track your like running speed, top running
Yeah.
speed during a game. That I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it literally tracks absolutely everything, which is it is like such a cool tool that that we use both, like I said, in the national team and the NWSL.
I feel like that's awesome to have when you're by yourself, because it's almost like having an accountability coach. Like you have to work hard because it's going to tell you what you did.
Yeah, exactly. It like I remember this off season I would train it, or I would use it training, and it would just be interesting to see like the difference between if I was doing like a technical training or if I was like playing pickup with whoever, just like the difference between that, and then especially seeing the difference with all of that stuff to like here at the national team or in our NWSL markets.
Did you use it when you trained kind of alone while COVID was going on and everything like that? Or do you only use it in like a team training type scenario?
No, I used it. Yeah. This like the whole past year, when I was hurt, I used it, and I was able to report like the data that I got to anyone who really needed it. So.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. It's such a different tool that we never had, like when we were growing up. Like
Exactly.
I know, like sometimes I'm like, thank God that you guys might have had them when you were in college.
Briefly at the end.
Oh my God! Like I got to skip that whole thing.
Well, it was just the heart monitor. Like they put heart monitors on the athletes, and we were like, "Wait, what? Like they're just gonna know my recovery?" It's just such a wild time.
I know it is. It is crazy that now all this like data and everything is available for people like really young to use and just help grow the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be so many more athletes because they have that that information.
And it's cool too, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they have like other sports too. Obviously I only use the stuff for soccer, but I think it like can pick up, it's crazy what it can pick up, and I think it can pick up a bunch of different things. So
that's awesome. Did you play other sports growing up?
I did, yeah. I played basketball, and I ran track. So I played basketball and I ran track all the way up until high school, really. And then I stopped because things started to get a little crazy with traveling a bunch for soccer and everything. But I'm always so thankful that I did play other sports. I really, really loved playing basketball. But I mean, I loved playing soccer more, but I kind of had to make a decision once things like started picking up more.
Did you know that you wanted to play pro in soccer kind of when you started to specialize, or did you just specialize because soccer was taking up most of your time?
Yeah, I think I mean, I don't know. I was always like drawn to soccer. Like I was always drawn to the game, and I think I always knew that I wanted to play professionally. Like I always knew that I wanted to be on the national team and play professionally. And now that there is like a solid, solidified professional league, I think it is even more like accessible to young girls, that they can actually like, hey, like I want to go play in the NWSL. I feel like when I was in middle school, there really you didn't really like know of like the professional league. It wasn't that big, but you knew of the national team. So that was like my like all-time goal, dream. And then once like the league started to grow more and more, I was like, yeah, I would love to play professionally.
Did you have like an aha moment and at any point in your career where you were like, all right, like this is, I could actually really do this, instead of it being like, you know, when we're young, I want to say all of us probably dreamed to be on the national team when we were younger on some level, you know, but like, when was your aha moment where you're like, all right, this is exactly, I know I can do this and I'm going to go for it? Did you have a moment like that?
I don't know if I had like a specific moment, but I just like always had this like desire, this like underlying desire. So I think that's like really what drove me, and I just like didn't want to stop until I achieved that.
I love it.
So you were planning on going to UCLA, and it came to a point where you were, you know, you decided to go pro instead of going to school. We were wondering, like, what did you like about UCLA, or what really drew you to want to go there?
Yeah, so I visited a few different schools, and I think going through that like whole recruitment process, and like visiting different schools and everything, I would hear from like the older girls that it's like once you step on campus, like you know what it is, and you know like that's your school. And I just like kind of got that feeling when I was at UCLA. I always wanted to be on the West Coast when I was younger. I loved like California and like being close to the beach and everything. And I think with UCLA, like they also like they strive for excellence. And I think looking up to like, I think Sam, Abby, Sarah Killian, like that whole class, Caprice, like they were all like, I like really looked up to those girls. And that like class was like so sick at UCLA. So I was like, oh my gosh, like it'd be so cool to like, I don't think I would have ever played with them. No, I don't think so. I don't think I would have, but to try and continue that there. But also like, I don't know, the school too, like it's just a great school. And I feel like UCLA athletics is just such a great thing to be a part of. So I think it really, I don't know, it's like a combination of a bunch of things that drew me in.
Yeah. How was your recruiting process? Like, what did you kind of know what you wanted to do in the beginning when you were getting recruited, or did you just like have your eyes set on UCLA and that was like your...
Yeah, so my recruiting process, I like hated everything about it, if I'm being completely honest. Like I did not want to talk about it. Like my parents, we were like I think, I don't know how it is now, but when I was being recruited, like they would send an email to your parents, and then your parents would like tell you like, hey, and my parents would be like, hey, like they like this school like reached out, and I was like, I don't care, like I don't want to talk about it. Like it stressed me out.
It's so overwhelming at that age.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was just really overwhelming. So I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna go to practice, and then I just want to hang out with my friends after. Like, so I kind of like put it off, and then finally I was like, okay, I got to make a decision. So
how difficult was it to make the decision between college and starting your pro career? Did that like kind of, I feel like at that age, I couldn't even decide what I wanted for breakfast, let alone
oh my gosh.
Making a decision like that. So what was that decision like for you?
Yeah, so I was, how old was I? I think I was 17. Yeah.
Yeah, 17 or 18.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it was absolutely like one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. It was like going back and forth. I feel like I was getting pulled in different ways, but also like I look back at it now and I'm like, that was like the first time really that like I like stood up for myself, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I wanted to go to UCLA for 3 months or however long I went for. And I then was like, okay, like it's like I need to make myself uncomfortable. I need to be in an uncomfortable environment to be able to reach the goals and the dreams that I have for myself. So I was like, okay, like this is the time. I made that decision. And looking back at it, I feel like people always ask me if I would have done anything different. And I think ultimately I would say no. I'm a huge believer of like everything's going to happen for a reason. And I think going through it, you're like overwhelmed and didn't know what to do. You're stressed out. All I wanted to do is play soccer, hang out with my friends. Like that's it. But I think it taught me more about life too. Not just, obviously it was a huge decision I had to make it. But it also taught me a lot of lessons. So
I feel like it's often the uncomfortable choice is the one that you should make.
yeah.
Like, taking a decision, you're like, oh, but that's going to be so hard. But then you look back and you're like, I did that. Like, that was amazing. Like, I had so much growth from choosing that uncomfortable decision.
For sure. Yeah.
Most people would consider being a freshman on a top college team as uncomfortable enough, but you wanted to amp it up just a little bit more.
Yeah.
I was a wreck as a freshman. So that to have like, you know, the confidence and belief in yourself where you're like, yeah, I want to, sure, this is uncomfortable enough, but I want to level up. That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, at like the end of my senior year, like I got called into the national team. So that was like, and then we had the Olympics. So like, I was like, okay, like I can actually like do this. So why don't I just do it? You know? So
I remember we talked to you right before those Olympics and everything was such an unknown. Like everyone was like, oh, like there's this new young player. Like you were probably at that point so sick of hearing the same questions of like, what does everyone expect of you and all of that. And now look at do you feel like in such a different place, even though it's only been a few years, but like, so as a player, you've solidified like who you are so much more now. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like when all of that was like happening, I really did not pay attention. Like I don't know. I just like didn't for some reason. I don't know. It was
the right move, probably.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what I was doing. I was probably watching Netflix or doing something else, but I just like wasn't paying attention. So I think that definitely helped like the transition go a lot smoother. Like I was just being me. I was just being Mal and just loving to play soccer and be around my teammates and everything. So yeah, I think I don't really think the like outside like hype or whatever you want to call it at that time really got in my way.
It's honestly a great mindset to have if you can just like put the blinders on.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely easier said than done.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I think there's sometimes it's definitely like you get stuck in that, but I think I almost had like this like innocence to me, so which was good.
Were there any players on the team when you first joined that were really role models to you, or people that helped you like kind of like become your own on the team? Like, is there anyone that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think obviously Kelly. Kelly, I mean, she still helps me. Shoot, like I'll call her about anything and everything, and she like still helps me. I think Alex too. I mean, like I would say like honestly, like everyone, all of the older players, like in their own like different ways too. Which is, it definitely, I don't know, I'm trying to like look back and like really think of like memories. I don't know if I can think of any, but yeah, I would definitely say like Kelly and Alex. I think Carly too. Carly was always one that like kind of took me under her wing a little bit. So
it says a lot about a team when like you can say as a whole, like all the older players contributed in their own way to you finding your place in that team and being comfortable.
Seriously. Yeah.
I feel like it's so important too, because it makes you feel like coming to a new team and not really knowing anyone is hard enough as it is. So it's so important to have that team morale and the support for one another, even though it is a competitive environment. But it's so cool to hear that even at the top level that is the situation, and that's wonderful. Do you have any advice for a player who is new to a team and feels uncomfortable or a little nervous to play?
Yeah, the one advice I would say is to just be yourself. I think it's so easy to get wrapped up in what your teammates are doing, and what they're doing that you're not doing. But I think it's just important just to stay true to yourself and stay true to like what makes you good and what makes you. Because the moment you lose that, it almost like it just doesn't work anymore, plain and simple. So I would just say as people continue to get on different teams and whatever it is, I think just stay true to yourself. And there are going to be times when people don't like you, and that's just life and reality. And I mean, it is what it is, but I think the moment that you stay true to yourself, you're going to be happier internally. So, yeah.
And you're just going to play better when you're not putting on this act or trying to be something that you're not too. Because even every question we've asked you where when you felt you're most comfortable is literally when you were being yourself. Yeah. And not concerned with outside opinions and stuff. So I love that advice.
Yeah.
What about any advice for players who are dealing with injuries?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, if I'm dealing with a lot of injuries. I have been. So, and it's definitely hard. It's definitely a roller coaster. And I think there can be glimpses of good. And I think most of it can be really hard, and you're like almost like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get out of this? But I think from my like own personal experience, it's like it takes more mental power than like physical power to come back from an injury. And I think you have to just like keep the faith and like keep those glimpses of good that you do, like those mini achievements that you do have, because those are the things that are going to like keep you pushing and keep you just like going forward. So yeah, it's definitely hard, but I would just say just keep the faith in those glimpses of good that you have, and those little positive moments. Just hold on to those.
I love that. I remember when we saw you in California, I think we were in California, and I think you were dealing with an ankle injury, and we were in the gym, and you were like, do not tell anyone that I was on this treadmill, because you were like, I needed to sweat, I need to get out of my own head. But like that's the way we're built. Like it's hard to just do nothing. We have to feel like, and I think that it's even the way a soccer season is built. You're always training for the off-season games, or training for the fitness testing, or training for the championship. And we want this like big achievement, or this thing that we can look forward to and validate the experience by. But like you were saying, you have to define what those mini little victories are going to be along the way that you can celebrate. Otherwise we ache for that feeling of like accomplishment.
Yeah.
So I love that. It's hard to stay positive through all of the injuries and the ups and downs and everything, but you've seen you just keep overcoming, which is
just gotta keep
amazing.
Putting one foot in front of the other.
There you go. I love it.
Keep going.
Yeah. I really love the point you made though about celebrating like the small achievements, because we've actually heard from other professionals say the same thing with injuries. Like, you may not be able to go out on the field and score a goal as one of your goals, but like if you can go for, a walk that day or a light jog without your knee hurting you, that's like a big win.
There's your win.
Yeah.
And those moments should never be like underappreciated, because it matters in your journey to get back. So I love that. So your first U.S. national game that you played in was when you were 17, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
Can
so,
you
yeah.
tell us a little bit about how that, like your whole experience, like you're achieving this dream of yours at 17 and stepping on the field, and actually you scored a goal that game, right?
Yeah.
Tell us all about how you felt that day.
I was gonna say,
goodness.
is it like a vivid memory for you, or something that you're like, oh yeah, like I don't even remember that anymore because there's been so much since then. Isn't that crazy?
Seriously, there has been, and that's why I'm like, but I think it goes back to like that innocence part that I kind of had. Like, I was just like, I don't want to like downplay it at all because it obviously is like a huge thing, but I was like, okay, like this is awesome. Like going to play in a soccer game, like, but there's like thousands of people here. And I think I obviously was nervous. I mean, you could see it. I remember my sister was watching and she was like, you could tell you were so nervous when you were getting subbed in. And I was like, probably, probably I was, because
Rightfully
I was
so.
So nervous.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of like, I don't really remember like the game as much and like certain scenarios. But I mean, the one thing I really, really do remember was when I scored, just like the noise, like the crowd noise that I heard. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard something like this before when like you score a goal. So I think that was like one thing that has like stuck with me. It's just like the excitement and just like the energy that you just feel from your teammates, the fans. Like it's just like this wholesome energy that you just feel, and it's definitely something special. So yeah, I remember that. And then also like Kelly was like right next to me getting subbed in too, which is just kind of cool too.
Yeah,
I was like,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll have all that noise again soon when more fans are allowed in the games.
I know. Yeah. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any goals for this year? Like any personal or anything with soccer for 2021?
Yeah, I think for me, I think a huge goal of mine is just to like stay healthy. Just continue just to, like I said, put one foot in front of the other every single day. And I think just continue just to find the love and the passion for the game. And I think after that's all achieved and is solidified, I think everything else can kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
But I think it's important too that, yeah, we have like these big goals and dreams and stuff, but I think also like life happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes like you have to like step back and think of like, okay, like what am I going to do today? Or what am I going to do this week to try and just like make one step closer to that. Because those dreams and goals can definitely seem like really far and out of reach sometimes, but so I think it's important to kind of just make those smaller goals and just continue, like I said, put one foot in front of the other and just keep going.
I love I feel like you're driven, but you have a healthy mindset about it. And I feel like this is so refreshing to hear, because I know with professional athletes, it's like you guys are you're the best of the best, like you're always trying to be the best. But hearing you say like, no, like I need to just slow down a little and get healthy and build a stable foundation there before I go back into it and go hard. So that's really cool. Like, haven't heard that yet. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
What are your hopes for women's soccer, for the NUSL national team?
Man, I have big hopes. I don't know. I just feel like after the World Cup, like we were just on this, like, just this path of just going up. And I think, I just hope that we can continue that. And I hope that people become more and more invested in the game. And because that's what I think ultimately that's what we need, is just investment in time, financially, like all of it. So I think the more, one, investment, and then two, like appreciation. I think it starts with just everyone appreciating and recognizing the work that so many women players do. Like, it's obviously a job and it's not easy. So I think the moment people can appreciate that and recognize that, I think we'll definitely start to grow the game even more and more. And I think too, just, I don't know, you do see like a lot of, I think it is more accessible for young players to play professionally and play in the NWSL. So I think I just hope to continue just on this like upward trend, not only in America, but overseas too. And I think you're seeing that. So.
Yeah, I feel like this is the most, like, I feel like young girls have never been more inspired, and for it to be a more realistic goal for them to be professional athletes and consider that a career. There's of course still a ton of work to be done. And every time we talk to like players like you and the top players, they're still talking about needing side hustles and other things. And it's that I really hope that in the near future, like, that is no longer a thing.
Me too.
But it is so cool to see. I think we're seeing a lot bigger percentage of young girls who have dreams to play in the NWSL, which is awesome, because like you were saying, like when we were kids, the league folded. I was like, all right, I guess there's no pro women soccer players. So it's so cool that it's expanding. The excitement is there. And I hope you guys can keep that momentum going.
Yeah, hopefully it will.
All right, do you want to do a couple quick rapid fires and then we'll let you go?
Sure.
All right.
Love it.
And there's nothing rapid about these fire questions.
Favorite cleats?
The Phantoms.
I do love that boot. Oh, cool.
But I also do like the old school Tiempos too. We're always like an OG growing up. Yep. Love those.
Those were like all I wore in college, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I feel like everyone like wore them, and they were
they were really
such
popular.
a good boot.
And every year you just got the same boot over again.
Yeah.
Coolest moment of your soccer career, whether that be personal or achievement wise.
I don't know. I feel like there's obviously there's a lot, but I think one that comes to mind was when we were right before the World Cup. We were playing in Denver, and in front of my home crowd, I like came on as a sub and scored 2 goals in front of like my family and friends. And I don't know, that's like never happened to me before. So I was like, that was like pretty cool. And I think one of the last goal too, it was like kind of something I was working on for a while. So it was just cool to like actually like see it, the hard work pay off kind of thing.
When it happens in the game, you're like, it all, comes together, and all that time spent was worth it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pump up song?
Oh gosh. Oh, I don't know.
Or even who's like a go-to artist that you listen to before a game?
I would say probably like Drake. I feel like everyone listens to Drake, but I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
He's great.
That is his home. That's like his comfort zone, is pump up music, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any superstitions?
I don't have any superstitions. I'm like not the biggest believer in superstitions, just because I think every day is different and every game and every opponent is going to be different. So I don't want to have to like rely on something to have to be able to perform.
Yeah,
so.
That's like the logical answer. Like that's
I guess you could say like one superstition I have, if it was a superstition, is just to have like oatmeal before, like that's like my pregame meal.
I was just gonna ask you, actually. That was the next question.
Yeah, it's oatmeal, but I mean, if I don't have oatmeal, like it's gonna be okay. Like still gonna be able to play. So
it is. What's your favorite post game meal?
Oof. Sometimes I can't eat after games.
No?
Yeah, like sometimes it's just like there's just like too much movement going on. I'm like, I can't do it. I know, I really don't know. Sometimes we have like pizza and which is not the healthiest option, but sometimes you just need it. Sometimes you just need it. So like a piece of pizza, I don't know.
Nice. Everyone's favorite teammate to travel with?
I feel like, well, when we would travel with the national team, I would say me, Lindsay, Sonnet, and Rose. Like we would, it was like us four would always like sit by each other. So.
Okay, so what about favorite teammates to play with?
Oh, I don't know. I don't feel like I can have a favorite. I love them all. Such a basic answer.
What's the teammate that makes you laugh the most?
I mean, I feel like, I would say Sonnet.
I feel like you guys do a lot of laughing, just as a team as a whole.
Yeah, we do. But also like Pino's hilarious. Pino cracks me up. Also Carly cracks me up though too. Like everyone in their own way is just like so funny.
Whenever
Crystal is funny. Yeah.
Whenever the Instagram like posts like action shots from practice, someone is always laughing in the pictures. Always.
Yeah.
Like
that's a good thing. That means
it is.
Fun.
It's a very good thing. Do you have a favorite team to watch?
I always like watching Man City, but I'm not like a diehard fan. I feel like some people have like their team, but I was never really like have my team. I do though thoroughly love watching soccer.
That's great. What is your favorite stadium to play in?
That's a really good question. I mean, I would say probably in Colorado. I feel like it's like a great soccer stadium. Also, we played in Cincinnati once, and that was a pretty fun game because there was just like so many people there. And then I also want to say St. Louis too, and like it was on their baseball field though, which was very was like really trippy to look at, but that was pretty cool. Just because like their fan base there too was crazy.
That's awesome.
If you didn't play soccer, what career would you want to do?
I have two. I would either want to be like a surfer and like live in Hawaii. I've always wanted to do that, but I don't think that's what I'm made to do. As much as I want to, I don't think it's gonna happen. And then I also really like, I really like fashion and that kind of stuff. So maybe something in that industry. I don't know.
That's
you
awesome.
can combine them.
Yeah.
Surfing fashion.
I know, surfing fashion, which is like complete opposite things too. But I don't know.
All right, last question. Biggest soccer girl problem that you have?
Oh my gosh, I feel like there's so many.
Every day.
Tell us about it.
Okay, well, here's one. So I haven't really been wearing pre-wrap that much because it started like every time I would take it out, it would start to like rip my hair out. So then I have like a bunch of baby hairs.
Yeah.
So I haven't been wearing a lot of pre-wrap recently, but like I do like wearing pre-wrap because it like keeps everything back, and I don't like wearing headbands. So yeah, that's a pretty big one that
I don't think we address that enough because I think this is still from pre-wrap.
Yeah. And
isn't that terrible?
I don't know if it's ever gonna grow back, and I hope it does. And
I know.
Hard to quit.
I'm like,
you just want to keep going back to it.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, Mal, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
This was fun.
Hope this year is amazing, and we're really excited to watch you play, and hopefully
you
play in person soon.
Yes, hopefully.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Good
Good luck.
luck.
Thanks, guys.